on YouTube. If you want to go to my nurse coach Ola, yes, I'm also live on YouTube. So, okay, I think my live just started now. Thank you. Can you just confirm that you can hear me? I just want you to be sure that you can hear me. If you can hear me, just say yes and how clear it is. I'm using a mic. I hope the mic is working. Let me put it on. Yeah. So welcome to New Not a Novice Nurse. So just as a background, New Not a Novice Nurse is a book. Can you hear me? Please let me know. Thank you. So New Not a Novice Nurse is a book, like I said. I just want to be sure that my YouTube is live. And you can also share the link on YouTube. Just go to Nurse Coachala. You can share that. Just yeah, I'm live on YouTube as well. So if you give me 1 minute, I'm going to share this link to my follower and everyone so that they can go along with me. Well, just 1 second. Yeah, just 1 second. I'm just going to share the live link with my network. Okie dokie. 1 second. So, like I said, you're welcome. It's Olayinka Aremu. And we're starting the podcast series now. So you can join via Facebook, Instagram, or you can also join. I just want to share it across all the network because some people were asking for this. So I'm just going to share it. Also via LinkedIn, if you want to. I'm also going to share it on Facebook so that people could join in and listen through. So I think that's it. One, I'm going to share it on WhatsApp as well. Just bear with me. It's not easy when you are the technical person and everything all together. I'm just going to share it in my community here as well for those who want to join. So the New Not a Novice Nurse podcast is live now, episode 1, and we are starting. So thank you. And we're live. We're back live now. Thank you. Is it clear? We're back live now on we're back live now on Instagram as well. So we are everywhere. So welcome again. New Nuts and Novice Nuts. I'm sure you're wondering what is this about this book. So the background of the book, New Nuts and Novice Nuts, is basically we know nurses travel overseas and everywhere. I am one. I am an internationally educated nurse, and I must say that the journey has been, very, very challenging. It's been challenging, but one thing that I can say is certain is that we never had like a guide, or so nobody told us this is the way it's going to be. So you just have to manage yourself through that journey, and to so many international nurses is very challenging, and it was very challenging for me. So this podcast is part of my promotional strategies, let me put it that way, to create awareness about the book New Not a Novice Nurse. So the book is a guide for internationally educated nurses to thrive abroad. Because what research and even experience have shown is that internationally educated nurses kind of a lot of struggle, go through a lot of struggle, when they relocate to another country, and this affects their mental health, it affects their performance at work, it's even rob them of, let me say rob us off, because I'm one, rob us off of our confidence sometimes. And it takes a lot of time before we get ourselves into, our real mojo. And just in case you're wondering, I'm using two screens, so I'm looking here and there. Now, today, I want to share my story. I might not be able to finish it today, but I will try to summarize it because, like I said, I've been there also. I've been there also. And if you are interested in coming up on this podcast, I'm going to run this through up until the launch. The launch of the book is the week of International Nurses Week, which is between May 6th and May 12th. So if you want to jump on, you want to share your story as an international educated nurse, just send me a DM or send me an email at nursecochola@gmail.com. So back to my story. I moved to Ireland 2017. Now, why did I move to Ireland? Because a lot of people say, well, why can't you just stay in your country? Like, why did I move to Ireland? I've been very, very passionate about career development, career growth. I wanted always to, move up in my career. I wasn't really keen about relocation initially, but I wanted to go abroad to get some more skills. So I was applying for masters. That was my first goal. I wanted to go to do my masters. I knew I needed to, advance in my career. So I've tried, I got admission like twice in the UK. I got one in the US, but I couldn't go. I think I was denied visa twice for the US. But for the UK own, I couldn't go because I just had my baby then. So eventually a friend introduced me to Ireland, and after going through of the process, it didn't take, I think, within 6 months. And honestly, I didn't put my mind all into it because I wasn't so sure. So eventually it clicked, and I found myself in Ireland. So when we go to Ireland, background, I was a nurse educator. So I worked for 4 years as a nurse educator in a school of nursing. I had 1 year post graduation clinical experience, which happened to be in a maternal and child, department in the state hospital. So I was more, because I'm also a registered midwife and a registered public health nurse. So I was more like the midwife. So my clinical experience was more into midwifery. So when I moved to Ireland, I started working in a nursing home, and it was a big jump for me, from the classroom and then to the nursing home. And back in Nigeria, we didn't have nursing home like that, so I never worked in a nursing home. Yeah, but you have to do what you have to do. So, but I find it very interesting, and I started working. But of course, culture shock is there. I experienced a lot of culture shock. The weather is there as well. But most importantly, it was about my career. It was about the fact that I had gone to this level, this heights in my career before transitioning, and now I am, just at the staff basic, the lowest grade staff nurse. So that's kind of gap in my career kind of affected me. I was almost like, where am I going to start from? I felt less of myself. Let me put it that way. Yes. So I had to, on my own, started doing some courses. But before then, I had a major challenge with my employer then, due to work permit and issues, and I had to resign. I resigned because I didn't want to be working illegally. I wanted to have a proper permit. So I had to resign, and I got another job. And because I got another job, the way the employer will say, no, we brought you into the country, you can't leave us. But my point was that I didn't want to leave you, but if you give me the right permits, I'm going to work with you. But now that you are not giving me the right permits within the expected time frame, I had to leave. And so I resigned, hoping to start the new job. But unfortunately, the new job now started requesting for a professional reference from my employer. And they insisted that they're not going to provide me a reference because, in quotes, I'm leaving them, breach contract. But I said, I wasn't the one that breached the contract. You breached the contract by not providing me with the right permit to work. But long and story short, I could not resume the new job because of no reference. I already resigned from this job because I had to, since the new job already got me a permit. So the way it works here in Ireland is, once you have the work permit with an employer, you are obliged to work with that employer. So I have a work permit that belongs to another employer, but I could not start a job without a reference. and I've already resigned from this other job. So that leaving me in that limbo state. And I tell you, eventually I had to return the work permits back to that employer, and I was unemployed for 6 months. Yes, I was unemployed for 6 months. It was very challenging for me because I had my family back in Nigeria, my two kids, my husband in Nigeria. Everything that I was doing, no money for 6 months, all my savings gone on rent, and I had to actually find my way around. Went to the social welfare and all that. At the point, I was queuing at the social welfare for unemployment benefits. Yes, I've worked for a few months, so I think I worked for about 6 months before I went off work. So it was a difficult period for me. And the point is, at that point, nobody knew what to do. Everybody I talked to, I just trying to advise, but there was nobody to help me. So I stayed off work. After a few months, I started reapplying again with, because I had the permit, so I've already renewed my permissions to stay. And I got a new job after 6 months. So when I started a new job, it was in a hospital, but also a care of the older person unit. That's where I started. So my interest shifted from, coming from Nigeria, I was more into sexual reproductive health. In fact, I had my master's, focusing on sexual reproductive health of adolescents. All my life then, I always thought I was going to be into, reproductive health, family health, something related to maternal and child health. But moving to Ireland changed the trajectory of my career interests. So nursing home and then back in the hospital, working in the care of the other units and the hospital. So my interests shifted to geriatrics. Now that wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy transition because it was a lot of mind battle, a lot of contemplation, discussion within myself. Am I on the right path? I wasn't even sure if I would love this new path, geriatrics. I just had to get my interest back because I was concerned about the time is going, the years are running by, and I just wanted to move up in my career. So that helped, I had to say, what will I do? So I enrolled in, a postgraduate certificate program in evidence-based practice so I can do something that will also improve my skills and also help me to provide quality care for my patient. So with that, I did the evidence-based practice, practice module, and my interest came. I had to synchronize or synthesize my interest. I didn't want my master's experience in community health to be lost. At the same time, I want my experience here to also matter. So that led me, after a lot of clarity sessions with myself and my lifelong mentor, Yemi Adenuga, as well, I had to focus on, you know, care transition of older people, discharge planning, integrated care. And that was how I started building up my career up until, I enrolled for my PhD so I can progress after master's. Now, apart from all of this, there are a lot of challenges that happened along the way as well. Like when my family eventually moved in, getting the right, accommodation, schooling for the children, navigating the old system. So there are a lot of cultural differences that we had to go through, and there was no guide, there's no support, no community at that time, and that's hunger or that zeal or zest to having a community helped me to be able to, rejuvenate the Association of Nigerian Nurses, and the community has been thriving since. So like I said, every internationally educated nurse has a story of struggle, of frustration, even in the workplace. Do we want to talk about racism? Do you want to talk about discrimination? Do you want to talk about, struggling with communication issues and all that? So all these are my story. Like I said, I won't be able to finish up today, and because I want to bring in the nurses as well to share their story. So I'm going to pause there. In the next episode, I'll continue my story as well, while I also invite other people. Again, if you are interested to share your story, you're an internationally educated nurse and you feel like you want to share your career transition journey. Now, this is to support and inspire other people, because if you were able to survive that, then they might be able to survive as well. So let's be very open. I'm inviting you to join us. Now I'm going to bring in our guest today, just to be sure that she's there. Is Olubimi there? So yeah, I'm inviting Olubumi Oluwalogbon. Yes, she has a baby and she's giving her consent. And the baby is also happy. Hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
Hello, good evening.
Good
I'm good,
evening.
thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for joining. Baby,
Thank
how are you?
you. Thanks,
What's her name?
hello. Ire Tombiwa.
Iwetomiwa, hi. Hi.
Yeah.
So mommy is
Hello.
live.
Hello.
Okay, mommy is live. All right. Thank you so much. I won't keep you too long. And to those
Thank you.
on Instagram, I hope you can hear her. So I know you'll be hearing me more, but just at the background, you can hear her. I'll just go straight. Can you introduce yourself briefly to our audience?
Okay, thank you very much for bringing me to your platform and for this opportunity. I hope everyone can hear me.
Yeah.
My name is Olubumi Oluwalogbon. First of all, let me apologize for having my baby here. She's
No apology. No,
only
there's
one
nothing
at
wrong.
at
You
the
should
moment.
apologize to her.
Okay, so my name is Olubumi Oluwalogbon. I am a Nigerian who is currently based in the UK in Bournemouth, England, and I am a registered nurse here in the UK. I am also a registered nurse and a midwife back home in Nigeria. I got registered in 2012, graduated in 2014, and I decided to pursue a career in the UK. And that's the brief introduction about me.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Now,
Thank you.
going to the question, how long when did you relocate to the UK and why? Why did you relocate?
Okay. So I moved to the UK in March 2022. That's just about 2 years ago. And the reason why I moved to the UK was for prospect of a better life. I wanted a better life for myself and for my kids, and for my family generally. That was what spurred me on to come to the UK. And I also wanted to experience nursing. Uh, Being a student back home, I've read a lot in textbooks, seen a lot of things about practicing nursing and how
Mm,
nursing is a very highly esteemed profession
mm.
outside our country. So I really wanted to experience that to uh, pursue that pathway. That's why I came to the UK.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. I'm sure every international educated nurse have their story as well, and they
Yeah,
have their reason. I think a core theme around that is the interest just to be better, be better for
yeah.
ourselves and for our family. So the question I'm going to ask now, so can you share your journey, since you relocated to Ireland, to UK,
UK.
the challenges and the successes you've encountered during the transition?
Oh, okay. So I remember when I moved to the UK in March 2022. I remember it was my first time of taking a flight. It was my first time in the airplane outside of Nigeria, and I was filled with so much emotions of uncertainty. I wasn't sure of what I was getting myself into. I was leaving my husband behind. I was leaving my child. I had a boy who was less than 2 years old. So it was difficult for me to leave at that point. I remember being in the airplane. It was a mixed experience for me, bittersweet one, because
Yeah.
I it was more like I was living certainty for uncertainty, right?
Mm,
So I felt bad. I also felt good. because of course it looked like this is a good thing to pursue. And so I remember that day it was not really a good one for me. And upon getting to the airport, uh, I met some other Nigerians who came also to my location. We came in the same cohort, about I think two of us. So and then we moved to the hospital residence, and that was my first family outside home. I mean,
Mm,
the Nigerians I came in with. So coming to practice in a different country is really is a brave thing to do. I must commend all international nurses. I mean, it's easy
yeah.
for someone to sit back in Nigeria and be castigating people and say, "Why are you traveling? Why are you
Mm,
leaving?" But I think we are brave. I think
yeah.
it's a brave thing to do, to actually live what you know. It's like going out of your comfort zone. So
Mm,
it started out by I had written CBT in Nigeria, the computer-based test, and
okay.
I needed to pass the OSCE exam to become a licensed nurse in the UK. So I had some few months of clinical education training for that. And everything was different. The mode of education is different over here. The
Mm,
mode of practice is different over here. And that was the first shock for me. I mean, I was coming from a place where I had graduated from school, had a bachelor's degree in 2014. I had a master's in 2021, and in here
oh,
I am
yeah.
starting all over again.
Mm,
And it's looking as though I'm just graduating in quotes from school. So that was the first thing I hurdle I needed to overcome. So I wrote my OSCE, I think about 2 months, 2 to 3 months after. And then luckily for me, I passed on my first attempt, and I got my pin. So before I passed the OSCE, I needed to work on the word, but not as a registered nurse
mm,
because I was not licensed in the UK then. So I worked with healthcare assistants. I think we call them health attendants in
okay.
Nigeria, although their scope of practice is a little bit more extensive than what health attendants do in Nigeria. So uh, the fact that I was seeing other nurses, I knew what they were doing, but I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it because I didn't have the pin to practice. That was, let's see, darling, that was very challenging for me. And at the point you go to work and just stay in one corner, you're like, what did I get myself into?
Mm,
Like, why am I just starting all of this again? Or we needed to pass through that process to get used to what is done here, and
yeah.
it was quite challenging. But I had an assigned practice educator who
Mm,
I could go to ask questions, and that really helped me. And after passing my OSCE, I worked with some nurses. I had to shadow a lot of nurses to know what is obtainable, what they do, the structure of
okay.
practice. So that also helped. And it's just been a good ride. Not
Okay.
it's not a ride free of challenges. I mean, the challenges are changing daily, but
Yeah.
then
So
it's been a
just
good
talking
ride.
about, yeah, just talking about challenges there. So would you have experienced any like cultural or language barriers in your work?
Yes, yes. I think one of the challenges I had initially was the language barrier. Although we got educated in English, we speak English, we took our exams in English, but when you come here, the accent is completely different. It is very, very different. I mean, the UK is made up of like 4 regions, and
Mm,
in the 4 regions, there are different accents.
different accents.
Someone in
Yeah.
England will find it difficult to understand someone in Scotland, but they are all speaking English. And that's now imagine you that is coming from outside the continent. So it was
Yeah.
difficult to understand the accent. So what helped me was that at first I pulled back, but then I needed to tell myself, you have to communicate. You cannot run away from communicating. So if I was speaking to someone or someone was speaking to me and I did not understand what the person was saying, I usually ask for feedback. Like, could you please repeat what you just said?
Mm,
Something like that. I felt people would be embarrassed at first, but I later found out they were happy to repeat themselves. So
yeah.
language was a challenge. Not having family was a challenge, and another challenge for me was working a 12-hour shift
Mm,
straight on. In Nigeria, we had three patterns of shift. We had morning, afternoon, night for most places, and
yeah.
where I came from it was morning, afternoon, night. Here, I needed to do you either in the day shift or the night shift, and for
Mm,
most part of that shift, you are on your feet
mm,
because there are things to be done. It was
yeah.
very challenging. Physically, it was challenging. Um, Also, getting used to the system. The system is completely different. The structure of practice. I mean, back home, the hospital where I worked, good hospital, good colleagues, but there were still a lot of shortcomings. Most
Mm,
of the practice, the healthcare services, patients had to pay out of pocket for a lot of things, practically
yeah.
everything. And here I have come to a place where nobody's paying any money. Like the structure is there, you just need to understand the structure. So getting to know the structure, the appliances, the equipment
Yeah.
was a difficult one to do at the beginning. And also, I would say the food was also another challenge for me.
Cultural
Uh,
shock.
yeah, it was a cultural shock for me because the food
Mm,
is different. There are a few African stores around, but then you have to pay like a lot of money to get your food. And for
yeah.
someone who has eaten African food all my life,
And
so that
yeah, I
was
know.
also for me. Yeah.
I know. And still talking about the challenges now, and I want us to progress to like the strategies and what you do, especially focusing on bridging the career gap. Like you said,
Yeah.
you had your masters, and you had to start, which was similar to mine as well, as a staff
Mhm.
nurse, and like that. How did you? How, do you think that was a challenge, that career gap, and the disparity between where you were and where you started, and how did you progress, and since how has it been?
Okay, thank you very much. So I think it's a very big challenge, one that I'm still trying to balance up as of now, because back home I started work in 2016, and I was due for a promotion at the point when I left, and I had to come here to start all over again. And in the UK, your master's is not recognized to start practice. All
Yeah.
they need is your whether you had a nursing diploma or a bachelor's degree. I think the bachelor's degree is not even recognized. They just need your nursing diploma. In some countries, I mean, you get placed based on your experience and your education level. That is not recognized. So it was a big deal for me, really. I had to start from a band five, which I'm
Mm,
still a band five nurse. So it was difficult, but then I didn't school here. So I felt that gap is is there's a big disconnect really coming from
disconnect.
where I was coming from and starting all over again. But then I
Yeah.
feel that people can actually incorporate whatever they come in with time.
Mm,
The first thing is just starting and getting to observe what is obtainable around you. I would say that all international nurses, as soon as you come in, try to like get the specialty of nursing that you you want to go into. It was surprising when I got here and I discovered there are a lot of specialties. I mean, there's pain specialist nurse, there is infection control nurse, there is respiratory nurse, and I'm like, there is nursing for everything. There is specialty for everything. So as soon as you recognize the specialty you want to go into, then you can start to work along that line. So for me, I started in acute medical unit as a general nurse, and right now I currently work as a nurse in interventional radiology. So I switched. I left acute medical unit to go into interventional radiology, and in that unit we do minimally invasive procedures. So I found that I want to follow that pathway, and I'm actually looking into ways to incorporate the degrees that I came back from home with into that role. Though at the moment I'm currently on a career break, so to say. I'm on maternity leave. Yeah. So I now work in interventional radiology, and I hope to incorporate my degrees later on. I think you are muted. I cannot hear you.
Okay, how about now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I can hear you now. Oh, oh, the audio is gone again.
Try a mic, but the mic is not connecting. All right, so it could be very frustrating when it comes to you finding your feet once there is a career break or career gap. So, and this is one thing that I hope that the book New Not a Novice will address, because I really talk about
Mhm.
how to reach the career gap. You talk about some of it is exploring the opportunities that are available, and finding your niche or finding your mojo again, from there, and building on that pathway. But it's a struggle for most internationally educated nurses. So
Yeah,
yeah, I will ask two other questions now. In your opinion, what are the most important skills or qualities that internationally educated nurses need to possess in order for them to thrive in their new healthcare setting?
okay,
So
thank you so
we just talk
much
about that briefly, maybe like an highlight. Yeah.
for that question. Thank you so much. So, there are several qualities that you need as a nurse, irrespective of where you are practicing. But for internationally educated nurses, I would say the first thing is your communication skills. It is very important to have the right communication skills, and it's important to listen to people when they are talking to you, and also make the communication effective and efficient. The first thing I would like to say is that it is not a problem to have an accent. It is okay that you have an accent. Everyone all across the world has an accent. So, or don't pull back, or don't say, oh, because when I talk, people know I'm a Nigerian. I don't even want to lose my Nigerian accent. I want to talk like a Nigerian anywhere I find myself. So it is okay for you to have an accent, irrespective of what country you're coming from. So be bold, be courageous, be confident to talk with people, to get involved in conversations. And also, because of their accents or the accent of the people you would be working with, you might also need to listen appropriately, to listen carefully. With time, you are going to get used to the accent, and it's going to just flow freely, right? So it's important that you work on your communication skills, and don't get embarrassed when people tell you to repeat yourself. It's not a problem. Don't feel that people are being racist, or they want to make jest of you. The way they sound to you is the way you also sound to them. So communication skills, and also problem solving skills too, and of course critical thinking skills. you're working in an environment where you have to be able to think on your feet. Like you are going to be faced with situations that need very fast
Yeah.
response,
Yeah.
and we have a tool for that. We have our nursing process or the AdPi. That's a very handy tool that you need to be able to apply to situation. So you should have that the tip of your fingers. And um, also emotional intelligence. I think that's
Very
another thing
important.
you are going to need
Yeah.
to survive here, because you're going to be faced with a lot from colleagues, from patients. For
Mm-hmm.
you need to just remind yourself, like the title of your book says, new, not a novice nurse. That's really helped me when I listened to one of your seminar. I think you were doing it for one of the NHS Foundation
Yeah.
Trust in the UK. I
Yeah.
came in newly then. I just joined the webinar, and that
Yeah. I
stuck with
remember.
me because you shared a curve of the experience that we have, and I could place myself on that curve. So that
Yeah.
stuck with me. So you have to be emotionally intelligent. It's going to be a lot of work. It's going to push you. You are going to be pushed. You are going
Mm-hmm.
to ask yourself why you traveled, why you did
Yeah.
not stay back in your country. But then just understand that it's a process and no one is
Definitely.
against you. Yeah, so and be conscious of what you have. You have the basic principles of nursing is the same
Mm.
all over the world. The infection control principle is the same. The
Yeah.
definition of nursing is the same. Hand washing moments is the same. It's just being able to apply those principles, your ethical principles and all that. They are not new things. You just need
Mm.
to be able to apply it to the environment you find yourself. So like your title says, you are only new to the system, you are not a
A
novice.
novice.
So like
Yeah.
always remind yourself of that.
Of that.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much. Thank you. I was going to ask you before advice, I was going to say, what advice would you give? But before then, if you had access to a guide or a resource before transitioning, the book now, New Not a Novice Nurse, if we had access to a guide before coming in, what specific information or insights would have been most beneficial to you?
Okay, so
Like,
if I had
like
access to a
what
guide,
you think, yeah, you understand what you wish
yes.
you had knew, or before transitioning.
Okay, thank you. So I would have wanted to be told that it's not a bed of roses, it's not a walk in the park. Like that I'm going to experience people whose orientation about life is different from myself, is different
Mm,
from where I'm coming from. Because one thing I was faced with, for example, I will cite this example. When I went into the world newly, I met a nurse who was tattooed from head to toe.
mm,
The nurse was tattooed from head to toe. That was another culture shock for me. I just remembered my clinical experience days in Nigeria, and I remembered my clinical instructors, and I'm like, "What? You mean you're going to be like this?" And
in
that
this
person was
world.
supposed to be one of the best nurses I've ever worked with, which is
Mm,
different from the orientation back home. So I would, if I had a book, I would love to know about the culture, the work culture over here, the way of life, the fact
yeah,
that my people's look generally does not really depict what they are capable of professionally,
yeah.
and the fact that you shouldn't judge people in as much. I tell you, there's no how you are. At first, you are going to be judgmental coming from Africa. You really cannot
That
uh,
unconscious bias.
yeah,
Yeah,
unconscious bias is going to be there. So you have to be intentional about calling yourself back and saying, no, I'm in a different place. This is the way things are done. So I would want to know about the culture, the workplace expectation, like the
mm,
kind of uh, maybe the common instruments or equipment I'm going to be introduced to, I'm going to
Okay.
be expected to work with. And I would also love to be reminded that I am enough just the way I am. Like, as a
Mm.
nurse, coming from the fact that you've even taken exams to get here, you are not without knowledge. You just
That
need
you have
to
what it
reach deep
takes.
within you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have what it takes to function in this new environment. And I think another thing that I would love to also be told is that a lot of the things I'm going to be coming across are things that I have the foundation for. It took me a
Mm.
while to tell myself that, or to come into that consciousness, because
Mm.
the environment is strange, the equipment are new, the people are
Yeah.
new, the culture is new. So you might be intimidated at first, and you want to just stay in a very, you don't want to be noticed, you don't want to be disturbed, you don't want
Mm.
to interact because you feel that this is all too much to take in. But if I had a guide, I would want to be told that you are going to
Yeah.
feel this way, but you have all the foundation that you need to thrive in this environment. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. I'm sure there are more to talk about, but
Yeah.
again, this is just for this period. So I'm just going to ask, what advice? You said most of it might be repetition, but do you have any specific advice you would give to other internationally educated nurses who are preparing, to transition into a new healthcare
Transition.
environment? Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm going to say is what I've said before. You are
Yeah.
enough. Like, you have what it takes to survive anywhere. It's baffling for me to discover that the curriculum of Nigerian nursing is even more extensive
Hmm.
than the curriculum of adult nursing here. It's just it's just a pity that you don't get to incorporate that certificate at the beginning, but you have more than enough, more than what it takes to survive. So
I think the
if you're
challenge we
going to
had
build,
was,
I think,
yeah, I think the challenge we have with the curriculum of Nigeria is
mm,
the volume. It's not about how much, it's about the depth. You understand?
depth, yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
it's about the depth into it. It's not just the areas to cover. So we cover a lot
to
of
cover, yeah,
areas, so and all that, but the depth of it and the applicability to a new,
application
modernized, healthcare setting.
environment, yeah, yeah. So again, just to tell new nurses, you have what it takes to survive,
Yeah,
to be the best nurse you can be.
it
You
can be.
have everything within you. So reach deep within you and bring it all out.
Thank you,
Thank
thank
you
you.
very
More or
much.
less, would you say that, like, I know you said it, that you are still trying to climb, but would you say
Mm.
that on a scale of, okay, not a scale now, like three options: satisfied, not satisfied, and contented? So what would you say about your career, growth at the moment? Would you say you're satisfied, you're contented, or you are not satisfied? Yeah.
Well, personally, I would say I am contented at the moment because I'm not satisfied. I'm contented. I have not gotten to where I want to be, but I
Mm,
know that I can get to that place when I'm ready.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can get there. The platform is there. The structure is there for me to get there. So
Mm.
I would say I am contented at the moment, but there is the prospect of being satisfied is there. Yeah,
Is there. All right. Thank
yeah.
you so much. Thank you so much, Oluwabumi. It's been a pleasure having
Thank
you on the
you.
first episode of the New Not a Novice Nurse, sharing your story podcast. And for those that are just joining, I'm going to let you go there now. Thank you so much. I wish you all
Thank
the
you for
very best.
having me.
Yeah, I wish you all
Thank
the very
you.
best, in your career
Thank
growth,
you.
in your stay in the UK. Reach out to me if you need any support. I'll be so
Thank
glad
you.
to help. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I wish you all the best in the launch of your book too. Thank you
Thank you.
so much. And
So
you are
maybe
doing
in
so
your own word,
well.
In your own word, can you tell these people, tell the audience to please pre-order? Tell them. I know you have pre-ordered.
Yeah, I've pre-ordered my copy, so I want to encourage everyone watching and everyone who will watch this episode to please go ahead to pre-order your copy. I believe that Nurse Coach Ola has a message for IENs, and she has visible results, and I believe she's someone, a new nurse in diaspora should be following. You should want to glean all you can from her. So please pre-order your copy and let's take all we can from the book and from her. Thank you very
Yes,
much.
so thank you. Thank you. So you've heard from her. Please pre-order. Just look at the link via the website and pre-order. Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you so
Ire.
much. Yeah, she's asleep now. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So, guys, thank you so much. And that's, you've heard from one of our guests, international educated nurse, sharing our career transition story to a developed country, like to a new healthcare system. Just like you, if you're an international educated nurse, you are new, but you are not a novice. So, but it takes a process, it takes you having the right support, the right guide, the right compass for you to navigate the journey. Like I've shared, it is not, it could be very challenging. I'm sure for those that are already in that part, you know that it could be very challenging, frustrating. We've had nurses who quit, who had to quit nursing because they could not cope with the challenge of the career transition, because of all the burnout, because of all the imposter syndrome, of the inadequacies that you feel within yourself, and even all the other struggles. A lot of people face discrimination, racism, bullying, micromanagement, microaggression, a lot. So, like I said, I've run a survey on this, and from my experience and experiences of other people that you are listening to, and you would, that I've also interacted with, the book New Not a Novice Nurse is a solution. Now, it might not be, 100% solution, but it will be something worthwhile for you to go on with in your journey, to have that rewarding health career. For those who know that my first book was Emerge as a health pro, helping you to have a rewarding health career. So this book is like an extension of that, particularly focused on internationally educated nurses. The reason why I'm passionate about this is that I've been there, guys. I've been there. I've been there. To be honest, I'll continue my story next time, the next episode. And like I said, if you want to be part of this, you want to share. I think one of the problem we have as well is that we keep things to ourselves. We just keep our struggles to ourselves. Now, your struggle can actually be a solution. Sharing your struggle can be a solution to another person. Sharing your struggle, sharing how you overcame it. You might not know, even by talking about it, it doesn't have to be something structured. You don't have to go to a classroom. It doesn't have to be a presentation. Just sharing how you went about it can be a solution to another international educated nurse. And I know that every nurse wants to give quality care. And this is what I'm going to say, that it's very important that you have the appropriate guide and support in your career. This as well, especially when it comes to work-life balance. I'm going to talk more about this in the next episode. So again, this is me. Like I said, this podcast is one of my awareness strategies for my book, New Not a Novice Nurse, a guide for internationally educated nurses. And I've always said that it is not just honestly for nurses. If you're a professional, you can apply the principles and the guide and everything in this book to your career. If you are still planning to transition to travel abroad to any country, it doesn't matter that country, then you should get this book. You can get this book for a friend if you don't need it. If you're not a nurse, get it for a nurse that you know, either related or not related. Get it as a gift for them, and they will be very, very grateful to you. So I'm going to be drawing the curtain here on today's episode of New Not a Novice Nurse, sharing your stories. thank you so much. If you are interested in getting this book, just head on to my website. I'm going to drop the link and the caption there for those that would just be viewing this video. My website is www.ncohealthcareconsulting.ie. So just at the drop down menu, you can go to products and then you will find the book, New Nuts and Novice Nuts. And there are several other resources, other courses, trainings that you can also, and books as well that you find interesting on my platform. Thank you. Please follow me on YouTube, subscribe if you have not, on LinkedIn, Olayinka Aremu, on Instagram, Olayinka Aremu, Facebook, Olayinka Aremu, or you can follow my official page, NCO Healthcare Consulting, as well. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Now, please, if you want to share your story, please just send me a DM or send an email to noscochola@gmail.com. I'm also calling for volunteers to join my book launch. Yes, the plan for the book launch is expected to I'm planning to launch the book the week of the International Nurses Week. That is between May 6th and the 12th of May. Join my book launch. There are several benefits for you if you join. You will be part of, exclusive access to my book summary, and then you'll be able to give a positive, honest review, honest review to the book as well. Join a community of nurses that are very interested in career growth. And of course, you have that one primary access to my mentorship programs and to me and so many other services that I offer. So thank you so much. I look forward to hearing from you. Bye for now. Till then.